In this video, I will pit the programming languages Python and Java against each other to discover which one will be the best for you. Keep watching. In this series, Coding Showdowns, I compare two programming languages over the course of 3 rounds. I address the simplicity of the languages, the functionality, and in the finale, I compare some simple programs written in each language. Now, let's get on to the video. In the simplicity round, I will compare the syntax of the two languages to discover which one is easier for a beginner. Let's compare the syntax of Python and Java. There are many outstanding features of Python, but today we'll talk about a few. Firstly, Python has no semicolon, so if I were to make a print statement in Python, then there is no need for a semicolon at the end. Second, Python has a very strict tab formatting. There are no curly brackets after an if statement. Instead, there's a colon, and then the following lines must be tabbed. And third, Python automatically detects what data type a variable is. For example, if I declare a variable called myVar and set it equal to 1, then Python already knows that that is an integer. While Java is more complex in most situations, that can sometimes be a positive. Java has a stricter object-oriented system. That can help in more complex applications, so it can be a positive or a negative of Java. Overall, Python has a simpler syntax than Java, but there are many features of Java that can be advantageous depending on the situation. In the functionality round, I will compare how much each of these languages can do. There is a lot of freedom in both of these languages. Python and Java are both general-purpose languages, which means that both languages can be used for most use cases. They can both make applications, control robots, and make websites. The main difference is that Python is growing into a variety of fields, so there's likely a better system to do something in Python than there is in Java. There are a few exceptions, such as some robot operating systems and Android apps. Generally, both Java and Python will cover all use cases, but the Python solutions may be newer and better supported. In the finale, I will compare what 3 different programs look like in both of these languages. The first program we will be testing out is the Fibonacci sequence. The Fibonacci sequence is this series of numbers. Each new number in the sequence is the sum of the previous 2 numbers. This sequence is often visualized in this spiral shape. It is often also found in nature, such as the number of petals on a flower or the layout of its seeds. These programs will return the nth number of the Fibonacci sequence. What you'll immediately notice is that Java has you create a class, and it also has a predefined function in which you run most of your code. In Java, functions require much more information up front than in Python. So, for example, public and static, as well as the data type it's going to return, you have to define those. Also, print statements are somewhat more complex than in Python, as you can see right here. Overall, we can see that the Python code is simpler, while the Java program requires more upfront information. But that isn't necessarily a bad thing. Now, let's move on to our second program. The bubble sort algorithm sorts an array from least to greatest. It does this by checking 2 numbers at a time, and then it swaps them to put them in the correct order. It loops through the entire array until all the numbers are sorted. These programs should successfully implement this algorithm. In this program, the differences between the languages are smaller. In Java, you use curly brackets to surround the code that runs if an if statement is true. In Python, you simply use a colon, but you must add a tab before every line that is inside of the if statement. Another difference you may notice is that in Python, it allows you to print out an array directly, while you need to loop through an array to print it in Java. This program shows that some things may be simpler in Python, but in the case of if statements, that requires more strict tabs and less freedom in the structure of the language. It's now time for our final program. The distance formula uses the Pythagorean theorem to calculate the distance between any 2 points on a Cartesian coordinate grid. These programs should calculate the distance between 2 points correctly. These 2 versions of the program are very similar, so the differences are smaller. The Python arrays are simpler to define, because you never need to state its data type. In Java, you can see that the math library is built in, while in Python, we are importing the math module. Overall, these two languages have different intentions. Java is more object-oriented by default, while Python is supposed to be more simple. I would personally say that I prefer Python because of its ease of use and wide support online. But Java has a large user base, and there are some tasks that Java can do much better than Python. There is never a winner between two programming languages, only small victories on both sides. Thank you so much for watching. If you appreciated this video, well, make sure to like and subscribe. And if you have a suggestion for a future video, make sure to leave that in the comments below. Alright, see you guys in the next video.